Jai Hind and welcome to Achievex Learning. Today we will cover a very important and a current topic, which is FCRA 2.0. What FCRA stands for? FCRA stands for Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, which governs as to how the foreign donations in India will be governed. If we look at the background of FCRA, FCRA first was enacted in 1976 during and after the insurgency period, where the government felt that foreign funds should not start dictating terms to the political parties, and there should not be any hindrance into at political level into India. It was further replaced by FCRA 2010, which was further amended in 2020, replaced by FCRA 2010 and amended in 2020. Further, there were discussion in 2022, and which has finally resulted in 2026 FCRA 2.0. So that is the history in brief about FCRA, how it has upgraded to FCRA 2.0. What is the purpose is very important to understand. What is the purpose of the act? The purpose of the act is to regulate the acceptance and utilization, acceptance of money and the utilization of money of the foreign contributions by individuals, by the NGOs, and to the companies, and by the companies. So that is very important to understand. And also the objective of FCRA. What is the objective? Objective is prevent misuse of the funds for activities detrimental to the national interest. These money should not be used which can hamper the national interest in any way. And who is the authority? Ministry of Home Affairs oversees the entire compliance of FCRA. That is the basic facts. What was the old FCRA? Old FCRA required NGOs and associations to register for receiving any foreign funds. They had to register at some office in India. Renewal and registrations were required every 5 years. It mandated that returns and utilization of the funds must be reported every year to the government. Old FCRA prohibited political parties, election candidates, journalists, and the judges were prohibited. Word prohibited is important by the government of India from receiving any foreign contributions. Allowed cancellation or suspension of regulation for violations. Covered cultural, education, religious, and social economic programs. So these were the mandate of FCRA 2010. Old FCRA, when I'm referring, it is 2010 FCRA. What are the shortcomings that is important to understand of this FCRA? It required a very heavy paperwork, and there were a lot of delays in approvals. Weak monitoring of funds which were flowing and their utilization. Limited integration with the banks and the government database. Scope for fake documentation and misuse was there as per the old FCRA regulations. It lacked real-time tracking of the donation. Who is donating, which bank it is going, and further where that fund is being utilized was a big issue where government could not keep a track of the funds being sent to what all individual and where it is being sent, which accounts it is being sent. Even if it was to be tracked, it took a lot of time to track as to where the funds are going. So these were the shortcomings of this old FCRA. FCRA 2.0, there is new rules in 2026, what it brings forward. Firstly, it is fully digital portal. End-to-end paperless system has been developed for registration, renewals, and annual returns. So it is a fast process. Cloud hosting. Megharaj is the cloud. Secure data storage. Reduces risk of data theft. Megharaj is in India. This cloud hosting is in India. So there is no data theft which is possible. Aadhaar card and PAN card integration. For stronger identity verification, it is important to know who is the individual who is getting the funds, how it is utilizing, and which all individuals, whosoever is in the loop, will have their Aadhaar and PAN integration into the system. OCR and e-signatures are mandated to prevent false documentation, and it simplifies authentication of the entire process. NGO Darpan and the bank dashboard. It helps in real-time monitoring of the foreign donations. So these platforms will give real-time tracking as to which is the NGO who is donating money, which bank the money is going, and further from that bank, where the bank will be sending those funds, how the fund utilization is happening in India. AI chatbot and mobile apps, it is ease of doing business and compliances. Mandatory disclosures, NGOs must share their websites, social media handles, and donation details, which was there lacking in the previous FCRA. So let's now compare between FCRA, old FCRA 2.2010 and FCRA 2.0. What are the differences? First is the aspect is the process. Old FCRA 2.10 was paper-based manual things. Now it is fully digitalized and paperless work has been done. Verification, limited checks were there. It is Aadhaar, PAN card based, NGO Darpan, and integration has all taken place in the verification process. When we say monitoring, annual returns only was a method where it could be monitored. Now the monitoring is real-time tracking of the money, the source, expenditure, and everything, even the social accounts. Document handling was physical submission of the papers by the NGOs. They were delaying the entire process, requesting for additional time, and all those things were happening. Now it is online, OCR based, and e-signatures for authentication and data handling. When we talk about the transparency, obviously in the older system, it was weak. And in the present system, the transparency is real time. It mandatory disclosures of social media, donation information has to be given by the individual or the NGOs and the people who are receiving the donation from foreign countries. As far as the security is concerned, there was a risk of fake documentation and too many delays was possible in old FCRA because there were loopholes. Now it is cloud hosting based. It reduces fraud with integration of AI, chatbots, and this thing. Nobody can escape as to where the money is going and how it is being utilized. This is the comparison between old FCRA and the new FCRA. To the point, you must know all this when you are discussing FCRA 2.0. What is impact on India? It's very simple. Positive impacts, greater transparency, NGO funding. It reduces misuse of foreign contributions. They cannot now misuse. We will study in detail what kind of misuse these NGOs were doing and why people are feeling pinch when this FCRA 2.0 is being put in place. Faster compliances for genuine organizations. Anybody who is doing a genuine work, who is helping people, yes, FCRA is going to help those people. It will strengthen national security and governance. That is the intent. That was the objective, what I told you. Remember, the objective was to prevent the misuse of the funds which are coming into India, and hence it will strengthen national security and governance. What are these challenges? Small NGOs may struggle with the digital compliance. Yes, there are people, there are remote areas where these compliance may not be, but I'm sure if we can implement UPI deep into the roots of our country, far-flung areas, we can easily do it. Increased government control could be seen as restrictive. Yes, there are restrictive uses. It is seen by some foreign national as that we are restricting too much by utilizing FCRA 2.0. And hence, we see that when J.D. Vance came into India, he went to Calcutta, visited charities, missionary of charities, the NGO organization, and raised concern about FCRA 2.0. What are the international concerns? Foreign donors are feeling over-regulated. Be it for our national security, if they feel over-regulated, no issues. Watchdogs like Amnesty International and human rights groups urge that FCRA rules are used to stifle dissent. Some foreign governments have raised concern. Read United States of America and the Amnesty International and human rights organizations have raised concern that India is limiting civil society space. It is restricting civil society, how they function, and they are being over-regulated. Some NGOs would worry about reducing inflow of funds. Yes, when there is over-regulation, people may restrict that India is regulating too much of NGO work. They may donate less money. It is a concern. Watchdogs may raise questions about freedom of association. One company or one NGO wants to associate with its subsidiary in India. This association which is there, they may feel that their freedom is being of association is being restricted. However, what India urges is government is ensuring that funds are not misutilized for anti-national activities. It is our sovereign right to ensure any money which is being fed into India, it is used for the same purpose, for the same humanitarian mission that money is intended, and not for anti-national activities. That is for sure. What is the concern of the Indian government? The government cites systemic issues like money laundering, opaque accounting, and an explosion of non-compliant NGOs over a period of a decade or so. Over 20,000 licenses have been revoked in last decade. That's a huge number. Several highly specific incidences of protests and intelligence reports directly triggered these structural overhauls. Now let us see what are the concerns of Indian government in detail. Gentlemen, now this is the second portion of FCRA where I said that we will discuss certain issues we'll discuss these issues as to what led to the government of India to take FCRA 2.0. We all know the issue of Kodakalam nuclear plant, the protest of 2011 to 2014. This is widely considered the foundational catalyst for the modern aggressive crackdown on foreign funding on NGOs. This is the start. 2011 onwards, Kodakalam National Plant. We all know there were huge protests going on a Russian-backed nuclear power plant in Tamil Nadu. What was the trigger? The IB investigation brought out that the foreign-funded NGOs, specifically which were backed by United States and Scandinavian donors, were highly active in putting this money into organizing of local allegation. Now we understand it is a Russian nuclear power plant, and this is funded by United States of America. So there are two poles who are fighting on ground and on our motherland. What was the fallout? The central government realized that time in 2011 and 14 period, money came into certain bank, and that bank further gave money for demonstrations and to individual accounts. So there was no mechanism or a framework to track that in real time, because the report was to be submitted after 1 year, and hence those protests could take place over a period of time. So there was no tracking and there was no teeth to stop that particular surgrounding of this thing. And hence incident becomes the catalyst for FCRA 2.0. Shortly after, we know that 2014, the government changed, and a very highly confidential IB report titled Impact of NGOs on Development was leaked. And the incident says this report accused international organizations like Greenpeace and Amnesty International for intentionally targeting development projects in India, such as coal-fired power plants, genetically modified crops, and extracting, mining, and etc. So their word is intentionally targeting development projects in India. The report claimed, when we read the trigger, the report claimed that these coordinated campaigns are shaving off 2 to 3% of India's GDP growth annually. And hence, if these reports are true, even if it is not 2 to 3%, if it is 1% also GDP growth, or 1.5%, even 50% of that, it is a concern of each and every citizen of this country. And such laws needs to be put in place which affect citizens of India. What was the fallout of that leak? This report altered the state's perspective of foreign funding, shifting it from the humanitarian aid lens to the national security and economic sovereignty lens. So the shift, what we see, that these big Greenpeace, Amnesty International kind of organizations, they are not doing humanitarian aid in India. They are directly doing economic warfare through these fundings. And hence, it is a matter of national security, national financial security aspect which is put in place. And hence, the entire vision, entire lens of the government changed from humanitarian aid to national security and economics sovereignty lens. And that point we must understand as a citizen of our country. Greenpeace and Amnesty International faced intense scrutiny their accounts were frozen, and they eventually suspended their operations in India. Forced religious conversion is a very, very important issue as far as these foreign funding is concerned. Intelligence agency flagged multiple large foreign funded organizations operating heavily into the Indian tribal areas, economical backward areas, such areas of Jharkhand, Orissa, Arunachal Pradesh, Telangana, for using social welfare funds to fuel religious conversion. Very, very sensitive issue which needs to be dealt with an iron fist. What is the trigger? Prominent organizations like Compassion International, a United States-based Christian charity, and later Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, CHRI, faced severe crackdown. CHRI was forced to shut down its Indian operations after Ministry of Home Affairs accused it of funding groups engaged in religious conversions. What is the fallout of this? This specific friction is why the recent FCRA 2.0 explicitly introduced aggressive penalties. And this is the example as to why FCRA 2.0 puts aggressive penalties and mandatory exclusion of forced religious conversions by utilization of these funds which are coming from these NGOs and foreign national organizations. So very, very important issue. We are all aware about 2020 farmer protest and its foreign funding and the toolkit which was out in open. And this digital toolkit with various pro-Khalistani elements sending money to these protesters, not through the legal channel which are existing on ground, through the bank channels or something, but they were utilizing the channels which were government said were not defined methods of receiving money in India. So the fallout was that in 2020 amendment, immediately it legally banned subgranting entirely, mandated that all foreign funds flow through a single bank, that is State Bank of India of New Delhi, so that there could be some restrictions. Government can understand where the money is coming from and where that money is going from that particular State Bank of India branch to India, so that these funds can be managed and understood in a better manner. That was an ad hoc measure at that point in time. During that time, it was also put in place that the administrative expenses of that particular NGO or individual who is receiving funds cannot be more than 20%. It was slashed from 50% to 20%. Because this administrative cost is what? This administrative cost is travel expenses, their salaries, giving donations to somebody else, subletting it to somebody else. And that is the administrative cost. If you're receiving 1 CR, 50 lakhs are gone as your salary itself. So basically, one individual or a group of individuals is getting paid directly by these foreigners to instigate a protest in India, and rest 50% you can donate and utilize the manner you want. It was done in 2020 farmer protests. What FCRA 2.0 resolves? Let's study in detail. What were the loopholes? Loophole number one was large NGOs forwarding foreign money to unverified local protest organizations. And as per FCRA 2.0, it completely bans subgranting or transferring of funds to any other entity. Second loophole is money scattered across hundreds of local bank accounts, make real-time tracking impossible. It mandates single point entry into SBI Parliament Street branch of New Delhi. So monitoring becomes easy and restricted to one branch. Foreign funds used to pay high salaries to activists and legal teams filing PILs to stall infrastructure development programs in India. So the administrative expenses have been capped and slashed from 50% to 20%. That is what we discussed earlier. Fourth point, NGO shifting focus across states or mixing social work with political content or conversions. 2.0 rule says restricted to specific pre-approved states and categories only. Explicit ban on forceful conversion, religious conversions. So this is what FCRA 2.0 resolves ultimately. So a matter of fact, a matter of national security, economical security, religious conversions on ground will be tamed by FCRA 2.0.